Harold, would you like to start?
Yeah. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harold Mariaku, and I work with Spareworks, partnering with right-sized inventory. Thank you for joining this call. Thank you for participating in this session. The challenges we have had with inventory management in this part of the world and in this region specifically are some of the reasons why we started to explore opportunities to make this burden a little bit lighter. We've looked at a couple of options, a couple of solutions available in the market, and one of them that comes out very strongly because of the unique nature of the solution is right-sized inventory. Now, Chris is the expert on right-sized inventory, and he'll be taking us through that. I'm just here to introduce the session and discuss with all of you on some of the challenges we currently have, and which I believe a solution like this will solve. Issues with distribution infrastructure, port congestion, road infrastructure that is almost non-existent, access to capital, challenges with electricity, many warehouse issues. People cannot really have all their stock in one warehouse. You find them, managing multiple locations, counterfeit and parallel imports, where you have a product that is authorized coming through the seaports and probably the airports, but you find lots of porous land borders, and people have access to these products, gray imports, all sorts of things, creates complications for how we manage inventory, specifically with regards to the predictability of how much inventory we should keep. And as much as we like to say we have a magic wand to solve all these problems and make them go away, we can only focus on the things that are within our control. And one of them is data. How do you know how much stock to keep in the various locations of your operations, such that you only keep the minimum and not hold too much or hold too little, which also depends on the policy direction of your business. So not to, spend too much time discussing this, I'll ask Chris Dietrich to go through this session, and I'll be here to listen for questions. If you have questions, you can write them down or contact me separately. I will take note of them and share these questions with Chris and have him try to address them. At the end of the session, we'll be sharing a slide that will show you how you can take advantage of this opportunity and how you can contact us afterwards. So without wasting further time, Chris, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Harold. Appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everyone. My name is Chris Dietrich, and I'm the Vice President of Inventory Optimization for RSI, Right-Sized Inventory. And a big welcome to all of Africa, North Africa, South Africa, East and West Africa, because I understand we have people on the call from Morocco, from Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, Mauritius, Ghana, Nigeria, and even Pakistan as well. So a big welcome to everyone if I left anyone out there. And thank you for carving a few minutes out of what I am sure is a very busy schedule this time of the year for you to take a look at our cutting edge technology. And today I'm going to share with you why it would be advantageous for an organization to leverage an inventory optimization tool to free up the working capital that's usually associated with carrying large volumes of inventory and to tame the chaos within supply chain. If everyone could please go on mute, would be greatly appreciated. And we do tend to find that about 90% of everyone's questions are usually addressed by the end of the presentation. I usually ask people to grab a piece of paper, pen or pencil, or a tablet, jot down any notes as we move along, and at the end, we'll open it up for a Q&A session, as Harold mentioned. So take a look at my screen. Here is the overview. So first thing that we'll do is we'll take a look at existing systems and processes. What is right-sized inventory and where do we fit into our client's existing ERP, MRP, or reordering system? And then we'll drop down into patented predictive analytics and share with you what it is that makes us exclusive and unique in the market and what it is that our clients appreciate and gain value out of using our technology. And then we'll take a look at refining the model and share with you how our clients can actually gain intelligence from the model by taking their strategic supply chain goals, their corporate initiatives, their S&OP intelligence, and actually syncing it up with our patented technology. And then finally, with target inventory settings, RSI has now optimized the replenishment values, essentially telling your team exactly how much of the right SKU mix to reorder and exactly when to reorder to achieve inventory optimization. And after this, we will hop onto our platform with live data and run some live simulations and take a look at the user interface and features and benefits. So let's just jump right in. So we are a cloud-based solution. We are really designed to have very little to no impact on existing systems and processes. We're not really here to change the way that you manage your inventories location, say within a warehouse, a DC, or on the floor, because most companies already have that capability, so it's not really a challenge. The challenge is that most organizations, they don't have any type of deep dive advanced analytics for inventory optimization. And so our goal is to complement, finely tune, enhance existing systems, and just add that missing capability of advanced inventory analytics. And so we are a non-replacement, non-disruptive technology, which allows clients to really operate the same way they always have. Just in going forward, they now have better data, they have better analytics and more optimal inventory positions because, as I mentioned, planners, buyers, supply chain teams, they now know exactly how much to carry in each location. They now know exactly how much to reorder, and they now know exactly when to reorder to achieve inventory optimization. And clients tell us that we allow them to significantly improve their supply chain with major inventory wins without having to make major or disruptive changes to their existing systems and processes. Some of those clients even call us low-hanging fruit specialists. But let me back up a little bit and ask the question, why is it that most companies are missing these types of advanced analytics? Well, the biggest reason is because ERP systems simply just don't have that functionality. And this is evidenced by most organizations having the correct inventory dollars, but not always the right SKU mix. And so when ERP systems go to set inventory targets, they will utilize a very deterministic formula, a calculation, or an algorithm to set inventory targets. And those statistical formulations can, in effect, place an average across all items. And with those blanketed averages, organizations can see surplus and excess. They can see shortages and stockouts. And so a lot of companies are really just kind of getting by with some sort of homegrown systems. Usually it is spreadsheet based or some other form of a workaround outside of their ordering system. And they know that there's a higher level of optimization to be achieved, but they don't know the exact next steps on how to get there. And as a result, well, there's two major high-risk supply chain challenges, and that is almost all organizations have some pockets of excess, slow-moving, or even obsolete inventory that accumulates over time. And nearly all organizations have some shortages or stockouts throughout the year. And so RSI is designed by the very nature and coding of its software to eliminate these two very costly issues. Now, we know that almost sounds a little too good to be true, and that's the reason why we have several patents around the technology, because we've been awarded that due to our extremely high accuracy. And there's two aspects to the patent that leverage two proven methodologies that are utilized in advanced inventory analytics. And so here you'll see quite a few things that are exclusive and unique only to us. No one else can duplicate us because they can't. We do retain all the intellectual property, all the patents, and the exclusive marketing rights to the most advanced, most accurate, most comprehensive planning and procurement tool on the market today. So the first thing that we do is we build, we model, we run, and then we simulate our client's entire supply chain at the individual inventory item level coming from a location. And then we're going to conduct a big data, deep dive analysis to identify a demand profile by auto-fitting one of 6 different demand distributions based upon that inventory item's individual demand pattern. And in this short video coming up, you're just going to see that auto selection or that auto fitting of one of 6 different demand profiles. And the reason it's important is because it leverages demand variation. And so since ERPs, MRPs, and reordering systems utilize a formula, a calculation, or an algorithm, by definition, they're only using one of these profiles. And so that's the first piece of the patent. This can also be viewed as the ABC stratification or your ABC classifications or stratifications or designations within your inventory settings. And so that's the first piece. The second piece is what's called Monte Carlo analysis. And Monte Carlo is very widely accepted in many different scientific applications throughout the world. And RSI just retains the exclusive patent to leverage Monte Carlo analysis in support of advanced inventory optimization. And so what I'll do here is I'll give you quite a few different ways to look at Monte Carlo and how our existing clients frame it as a lean or as an optimal supply chain strategy. And this next series of slides is based upon an article. It was in the Wall Street Journal. It was in U.S. News and World Report. If you provide your email address, we can send it to you by the end of business today. And so we've all seen this. What meteorologists will do is they'll apply inputs into a model. They'll run simulations and they'll get a multitude of results. And what Monte Carlo does is it takes that same analysis, it varies all the inputs, and then reruns the analysis. And so this is what Monte Carlo starts to look like when you begin to model it and run simulations. And when you do that, this is referencing a hurricane off our East Coast about 8 years ago called Hurricane Sandy. And you can see that some of the simulations have Sandy going up here to the North Atlantic. Some appear to be hitting what could be the DC area. But the point is there's all these potential paths because Monte Carlo will run thousands and thousands of simulations, and it will then automatically converge on the result that is most probable. So in Sandy's case, the analysis converged and the meteorologist predicted with confidence and with a very high level of accuracy that Hurricane Sandy would ultimately hit in the New York, New Jersey area. And the article just kind of goes on to highlight how predictive analytics and Monte Carlo was just such a great scientific tool for meteorologists to be able to predict a storm's path. So what does that do for us in supply chain? I'll stay here for a couple of minutes. So how does predictive analytics and Monte Carlo lead us to inventory optimization? So again, first thing that we do is we build, we model, we run, and then we simulate our client's entire supply chain at the individual inventory item level coming from a location. And in this model, we're simulating inventory going out in sales and shipments, and we're simulating inventory coming in POs and receipts. And then we're going to run a minimum of 2,000 days of future supply chain simulations for each individual inventory item. And each one of those 2,000 days of future supply chain simulations will be based upon your inventory's real world behavior. And each time we rerun a simulation, we're going to vary anything that can be varied. So we're going to vary all the demand. We're going to vary the lead times in between replenishments from the time you signal replenishments until the time you actually get it in. Because as we all know, there's a huge difference between when did I say I needed it versus when did I actually receive it in. And we're also going to vary the volumes as it comes from those suppliers as resupply. And so what predictive analytics and Monte Carlo does is it automatically then converges on the most probable result based upon your inventory's behavior and your desired projected target service levels or fill rates. Now, these days, software can be designed and engineered to ensure an outcome with certainty for any type of variable environment without the need to be reprogrammed as new variable data is added to that environment. So in effect, what RSI is doing is we're leveraging predictive analytics and Monte Carlo analysis to create your supply chain model that simulates your inventory's reality in the future. And it has been proven to very accurately make predictions as to what inventory levels might look like, say, 6 months down the road, or say by this time next year. And the main reason that we model and then simulate the entire supply chain at the individual inventory item level is that just allows us to quantify and account for any type of randomness, any type of intermittency, or any type of variance. And that's simply because The RSI model thoroughly investigates that minimum of 2,000 days of future supply chain simulations, and for each individual inventory item level coming from a location, and it actually takes less than 2 seconds to do so. Super fast, high processing speeds. Now, here's the key component. From these 2,000 results, we determined the leanest possible inventory level that will consistently hit your desired target service levels, and there will be no shortages of stockouts, there will be no surplus in excess, and there will be no expedites. So in effect, what we're doing with these 2,000 simulations is we're accurately simulating supply chain activity, the equivalent of 6.5 years into the future. And these simulations can even quantify for long and variable lead times that might be associated with port congestion, as an example. So we are rearward-looking with demand history and demand profile to identify how does this inventory item behave, which most solutions in the market have. And we're forward-looking 6.5 years into the future with Monte Carlo analysis and predictive analytics to achieve a desired target service level. So the results that we provide, they are very granular and they are extremely accurate. And one last way to look at it would be as if there is even a possibility of a high-risk supply chain scenario that might occur, then the RSI model has already investigated and thoroughly tested that occurrence so our clients can predict with confidence and with an extremely high level of accuracy that they are carrying the optimal amount of inventory at all times. This here is just what's standard and stock in the industry. This is a formula calculation or even a sophisticated algorithm. It does not account for variation in fluctuating demand patterns or in fluctuating long and variable lead times versus a real-world independent inventory behavior simulation, a probabilistic model, at least 2,000 days of future supply chain simulations. It ensures that your regular runners and your intermittent items are optimized at all times. So that's how we predict optimal inventory positions. Now we'll take a look at refining the model, and we'll share with you how our clients are actually gaining intelligence from the model, because here one has the capability to assess the impact of any type of variable what if supply chain planning scenario they wish. And our clients tell us that this feature here really helps them to sort of take that next step in their own continuous improvement efforts, because here they can take strategic supply chain goals, they can take initiatives, they can take port congestion and terminal information and actually sync it up with our patented technology. Let me show you what I mean. For example, one could play around with a what if supply chain planning scenario, such as, hey, what if we reduce the lead times from these suppliers over here? What effect will that play on inventory positions, say, next month? Or what if how much working capital will be freed up if we build or ship these items, say, twice a week versus twice a month? Or what if we negotiate and reduce our MOQs from our top 10 suppliers? What effect will that play on inventory position, say, next quarter? Or what if there's a strike at port and my inventory is being held up on the docks with longer and more variable lead times? Or what if I'm in a landlocked city with my lead times varying due to slow road transportation? Or what if my forecast projections are skewed due to port terminal congestion? And this is just a handful out of thousands of what ifs clients can leverage in order for them to help hit their goals. And we do teach, we coach, we train on all of this until clients are 100% comfortable with RSI's features. And that's simply because we do provide a lifetime ongoing customer service, which does include a monthly strategy meeting and 24-hour customer service, and really just the coaching and planning of supply chain teams, planners, buyers, analysts, whomever you wish, really, inventory control managers, on how to leverage our RSI tool within the context of your own supply chain strategies and goals. This here is just supply chain 101. What if we run at a 99% target service level or fill rate versus a 95%? Because as you all know, that's not just a 5% bump across the board, it is exponential in growth. And so that's how we gain intelligence. So now we've run the model, we've gained intelligence from the model. Now RSI has optimized the replenishment values. Again, telling your team exactly how much of the right SKU mix to reorder and exactly when to reorder to achieve inventory optimization. And we're very flexible as to how we support the replenishment process because we literally support them all. So if you're running an MRP or safety stock position, we can support that, a min-max, a fixed reorder point, the visual cues, Kanban, 2-card and multi-card, and even par for the medical industries. Speaking of industries, these are just a few that are currently benefiting from RSI. I actually have an updated slide on that. But the purpose of this is just to display that some of these industries are very dynamic. Some of them are very complex. Some of them are low volume, high mix. Some of them are high volume, high mix. And some of them are very highly regulated. So RSI just displaying comfort in any industry that carries and holds any amount of inventory. And we can do it for any ERP, MRP, or reordering system. These here are just a few key clients that have granted us special permission to disclose some of their financial results in regards to the RSI technology. Key clients being defined as having multiple licenses within the RSI cloud or many items on the RSI cloud. Most recognizable to everyone here for the Africa markets, since we're making new inroads here, is probably AB InBev is probably most recognizable to everyone on the call. Now they started off with a very small 10 inventory item free trial, which led us to a full license and a $5 million starting inventory position on 703 SKUs. And that was a single location in Brazil. And they realized a $1.5 million working capital reduction down to $3.5 million for a 24% improvement in inventory positions while improving their service levels at the exact same time. Now, that result led us to expand the license to 15 locations, 2,656 SKUs, a $20.1 million starting inventory position down to a $10.5 million for a 47.7% reduction on their inventory positions and improving service levels at the exact same time. This ended up being a 609% return on their investment. This here are the minimum input parameters that we need in order to build an effective supply chain model that actually reflects clients' inventory's real world behavior. We have never not been able to build an effective supply chain model. It's just that some clients don't always know where this information is located or how to grab it. The most important piece here is historical demand. We're looking for that to be in daily buckets. A year's worth of demand history is ideal. We can talk more about this in a second. And then we've been awarded several patents due to our extremely high accuracy, and this is how we tame the chaos with these types of following results. The ability to safely carry less inventory, period. A minimum of a 5 to 10% drop in pockets of overbuffered inventory will be realized, although our average is quite high at 21% in aggregate. And at the same time, we're able to identify, mitigate, and resolve for all future shortages and stockouts. We always protect existing service levels and can show you what increased service levels might look like through what-if side-by-side comparisons. There's no costly expedites, so there's money saved there. Save time, redirect to other higher priority projects clients report because there's a huge reduction in planning cycle time, so less time in spreadsheets. There's more time in that strategic proactivity through what-ifs versus the costly hair on fire reactionary mode we often see. 10x to 20x to 100x, sometimes 1000x returns, very common. There's a huge improvement in forecast accuracy. And then due to the decrease in inventory spend, there is less working capital on the shelf, freed up, turned into cash while driving profit margins upwards. And organizations can start for as little as $300 per month, and it can go up from there if you want to add more SKUs. So that is the overview. And now we're going to hop onto our platform, and we're going to take a look at how the user interface reacts with our client base. So before I jump onto here, I want to be very, very clear that RSI does three things, and we do three things very, very well. and that is we show our clients exactly how much to carry in each location. We tell them exactly when to reorder, and we tell them the exact right SKU mix to reorder. Those are the three core principles of our SI. Everything else that you see here on our platform is as a result of new releases and adding over 50 extra layers of advanced analytics, business intelligence, and KPIs that have been a request of a client, and we've added it on our latest release. So once we get this information here, this all goes into an Excel.csv file, and we can talk about this in a deeper dive meeting if you request it in a follow-up meeting. But we don't want to spend too many details on this, but this goes into an Excel.csv file. Clients go to engine.rightsizeinventory.com. They upload that file information, and then it drops them onto our dashboard. We give everyone a secure username and password, and there can be as many users as you wish on our platform. We do not charge per seat. We charge by inventory item that's on the platform. Now, we can, what you're looking at here is the dashboard, and as in any dashboard, it is meant to provide a 10,000-foot view level. There's 3-4 things I'm going to go through here on our task ribbon, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A after that. But we can actually take the inventory positions for each location, and we can sift it by family, by location, by buyer, by supplier, by customer. We can sift and sort that information any way we wish. It's very easy. We can even assign inventory items to individuals as well. But just for today's purposes, we're going to look at the company items in aggregate just to save time. And what you're looking at here on the far left is a bar chart that shows the original inventory position from the very first time a client uploaded their inventory onto the RSI cloud, then a current inventory position, because as you add new demand, let's say every 30 days or every couple of weeks, it burns down pockets of overbuffered inventory to a current position. What is the target? How much working capital is available and freed up for this particular organization? And we can do it by location as well. And what is the opportunity for that working capital to be freed up? So this is the target goal for inventory position. Here's the working capital opportunity, carrying cost decrease. And we also have an inventory burn down chart, which shows the current inventory position and how many days does it take to achieve inventory optimization. Most organizations see inventory optimization results that are realizable within the first 30 to 60 days. But it's important to note here that you'll see next to the y-axis, there is a sharp increase, and then there's a decreased burn down. So important to note, we are not an inventory reduction tool, we're an optimization tool. So if RSI sees a gap or a shortage or a stock out in your future, it's going to recommend a spend. So that's the spend there, and then it burns down pockets of overbuffered inventory every single day while consistently hitting your desired target service levels. And it really drives the conversation of how many days will it take for us to achieve inventory optimization. So that section of the dashboard over here is a quick reference way to look at inventory performance and the turns of the inventory performance. And we can do it by location, by family. I can click here on the inventory dollars at the top, and I can get my lowest inventory dollars by location. I can get my highest inventory dollars by location simply by clicking as you would in an Excel.csv file or any Excel file for that matter. And what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the current inventory position by family and location, and it's showing a 18.6 turns for the year. And I bring that down to target or fully optimized. That gets increased to 23.4. Again, high-level analytics. Bottom left is the top 10 inventory items that need immediate attention with regards to surplus and excess. So we show the inventory item here, its location, its current position, what's the target, and what's the inventory reduction opportunity or working capital to be freed up. Bottom right is the top 10 items that need immediate attention with regards to future shortages and stockouts. So same information is displayed here, and we can sort it by cost and number of units, depending upon how the client likes to look at their data. Now, this here is the original inventory positions that RSI provided. It was a simple 1 or 2 value input, which is, hey, what is my safety stock position? What is my fixed reorder point? And what we're doing here is we're taking a look at the inventory item plus its location, the family, buyer, supplier information. Here's my ABC stratification, and it's currently showing the current inventory policy that's in place at 116. What does RSI recommend as this safety stock position? And that is a 116 down to a 74 for a 36% reduction in inventory positions just on that one inventory item level. And this can be sifted by family, by sorting, by family, by group, by stratification as well. And if you notice here that on the far right, it says data has possible statistical outliers. Now, RSI has the auto intelligence to identify any anomalies or outliers that are associated with a particular inventory item level. And when we click on that particular inventory item level, what RSI is saying is that these 3, 4 red spikes here are statistical anomalies with regards to the demand history of this particular inventory item level. This is about 2 years of demand history on a daily basis. And it's saying you might want to take a look at these 3 red spikes. So let's say hypothetically that these 3 red spikes cause a shortage or a stock out, or we upset or lost a customer as a result of these demand spikes, and we never ever want to repeat that scenario from ever happening again. What we can do is we can actually ignore those outliers, and we can allow those demand spikes to drive additional inventory in the future to cover for this scenario and prevent it from happening again in the future. Or let's say that they were pre-planned for around an event or a seasonality or a promotion, and we don't want them to drive additional inventory in the future. We can set those outliers to an average or a median demand. They would be reprocessed and driven down, and they would not drive additional inventory in the future. Also here on the individual basis, we can take into account for foreign exchange currency rates fluctuations. You can adjust the pattern here for the unit cost, and you can save and reprocess that. It would be reprocessed and made to a new adjustment according to the foreign exchange and currency rates that do fluctuate often. And down here at the bottom is just a quick way to look at the heat map and which days of the week have the highest percentage of ship or fill rates or service levels. It looks like Mondays and Fridays for this particular inventory item level are the busiest days. And here we also have the most important feature of RSI, and that is what if supply chain planning scenarios. So when we click on that, it's going to load my projected scenarios onto the platform, and these are unlimited to the clients. Our goal in our job is to find out what are the pain points, what are the goals of a particular organization within supply chain, and show you how to sync up the technology with your goals and to achieve those goals faster. So let's take a look at a potential what if supply chain planning scenario, such as longer lead times due to port congestion. And when I click on that, this is going to take a look at an in aggregate it's going to cost this particular inventory item $1,000 in aggregate, $1,000 difference. And what we're looking at here when we do the side-by-side comparison is we are actually looking at a normal lead time of 11 days and 19 days as a range. And let's say we've got them pushed back due to congestion to 20 days and 30 days. What's that going to do to my inventory positions, and what's the effect on settings? Well, in this particular case, it took my min-max settings from a 340 and a 363 down to a 553 and a 586. So that is showing the result of inventory positions as a result of longer lead times. And we can, at this point, reject the scenario and keep the original, or we can accept the scenario, overwrite the original. This would be reprocessed, and these would be the new min-max settings as a result of these longer lead times. We can also take a look at road transportation lead times have increased due to maybe a landlocked city. This is a similar type exercise, but for this particular one, it's a $350 increased position, and we click on the scales, and it provides a side-by-side comparison for these particular lead times. It went from 3 days and 7 days as a range to 8 days and 16 days, virtually a double there. And what that did is it took my safety stock position from an 8 to a 10. And there's that a couple $100 difference. Now we can also look at forecasts being declined, let's say 15% due to terminal congestion. And so what's that going to do to my inventory positions? Well, in aggregate on these particular 3 inventory items, it's going to cost, it's going to be a decrease actually in inventory position of about $20,000. And when we do a scale here, it shows the side-by-side comparison of that 15% decline. And what that did is it took my reorder point from a 388 down to a 293 for that difference of about $7,000 just on that one inventory item level. That's high because that's a high unit cost. And so again, the client can reject the scenario, keep the original, or accept the scenario, overwrite the original. And this here is just snapshots. This is a quick way to restore inventory positions, let's say at the beginning of the month, or it's a quick way, an easy way to keep and hold a snapshot. Think of it as a big save button, and we can restore and save those at any time that we wish. And now, once we've gained intelligence from what if, and we've run the model, we come here to the Export Data Center. And here we can custom create an ad hoc report by dragging and dropping these parameters here, similar as if it would be in a Excel file. You can drag and drop. You can name that report and save it right here. This would be saved up in this section here, or you can drop it into a pre-formatted report. Click on this, it drops it into an excel.csv file. And now inventory optimization is easily achieved because these now settings now get dropped or copied and pasted into your material master of your ERP or MRP system, or these are now your new reorder points that you may use within your own spreadsheets, and they've been optimized and tested over 2,000 times to ensure that you will consistently hit your desired target service levels, and there will be no shortages in stockouts, there will be no surplus in excess, and there will be no stockouts and no expedites. So let me pause right there, Harold, and open it up to a few questions. I see a few questions coming in. So let's, Harold, thank you everyone for your time. Harold, let's see if there's any questions that we'd like to chat about next.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris, and thanks to everyone who has listened so far. If Chris was too fast for you, please feel free to ask him to go back to any part of the presentation you need some clarity on. I'm aware that some people tried to dial in but had some challenges with their phones because they had to download the app. We are sorry about this. We should have informed you earlier to download the app and have it ready. So please accept our apologies. We will send all of you the links so you can go through the presentation after the call. I'm aware that Gerald Adeyemo has a question. Can we hear your question now?
Hi, Harold. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Thanks, Chris, for a really clear presentation. I think the benefits that the tool provides and the client base you have already looks really impressive. I've got two questions, if I may. The first question is, how does your the product work alongside the existing ERP or MRP or forecasting solutions already within the companies? And then the second one is, what is the percentage accuracy of the predictions that are produced by the solution?
Good question. Thank you, Gerald. So with regards to MRP, ERP systems, we are an enhancement or an upgrade to what they're currently providing for replenishment values. So important to note that there is nothing new here. You and your team are already placing orders for replenishment to suppliers. So there's nothing new, there's no disruption, there's no replacement of anything. We're just telling the buyers and the planners exactly how much of the right SKU mix to reorder and exactly when to reorder to ensure inventory optimization. Those are the secret sauces to inventory optimization when you really think about it. And the regards to accuracy, we've been awarded several patents due to our extremely high accuracy. The results that RSI provides are never wrong. The simulations are run to over 2,000 times to test a desired target service level. The thing that might be inaccurate is if we have some wrong data on the input side, data garbage in, garbage out. So our job is to focus in on the accuracy and scrub the data together in collaboration to ensure that the data is accurately reflecting real world behavior. And therefore, the simulations that will run in the future will be 100% accurate.
Hey, Chris, this is Kevin. Can I add something to that?
Everyone, this is Kevin Kuntz, our Chief of Operations for Right Size Inventory. Thanks for joining us. Sure, Kevin, go ahead, jump in.
Sure. Yeah, great question, Gerald. And I just wanted to make clear that we are a web-based solution that is a bolt-on or a snap-on to any existing ERP system. So we work with literally every system out there. And the beauty of that and how we're able to do that is that we do what we do in the cloud by just going to a website like you saw Chris do. But then we provide back one critical piece of information that you can put back into your existing system in order to drive replenishment and drive supply chain activity. So that's how we're able to work with both. But great question, and I just wanted to add in on that. So thanks, Chris.
Okay, Gerald, if that answers your question. Sycat has a question. He says, great presentation, Chris. My question will be, can I simulate any scenario based on my requirements? Chris, that's for you. And if Kevin wants to join in, it's fine.
Yes and no. Any scenario is a broad range of scenarios. So it's within a certain spectrum of supply chain. So here, actually on the cloud, let me grab an inventory item just to kind of show you what we're talking about. So we can manipulate and simulate and change what if based upon lead times. We could do it based upon a growth or decline forecast. If the current inventory positions on hand, if you're doing daily counts or weekly counts, that can be changed. As I mentioned earlier, unit costs can be changed as well. You can change your service levels. So any of these parameters here can be changed and manipulated. So that's the true answer. We're very good at simulating supply chain simulations that our clients are experiencing, And I don't think we've ever not been able to simulate an environment or an activity that they'd like to put into a what-if supply chain planning scenario. Kevin, you want to expand upon that?
Sure, you answered it perfectly though, but it's limited to what the inputs are, and we've done, in my opinion, a very good job of capturing every possibility that can affect inventory as far as an input from a supply chain, like lead time, like the service level, lead time variability, all of those sorts of things. So it's limited by a little bit of what you're seeing here, which is the item input data. There's about 9 different factors that we use, and any of those can be changed in any combination. So that's probably the easiest way to answer that. But again, great question. Thank you.
Great, Saikat. And if I would just say this, while doing simulations to see what the possible outcome is, you can play around with the numbers as much as you want. There is no limitation there. But of course, you are doing this just to see what the possibilities for optimizing your inventory are. So yes, you can do that within the limits of the data that within the limits of the data inputs that you can make to the tool. So are there other questions from anyone else who would like to understand how this works and what the opportunities are? Because we are offering, depending on how the conversations go, an opportunity for a couple of people to pilot this tool to see how it works, to see it run for a limited period. And if you're interested in investing in the tool, then we can take the conversations further. So are there any further questions you would have for us? Okay, Saikat has one more question. Do you want to talk or do you want to write? Saikat? Okay, so Chris and Godson, Saikat is asking what is the expected timeline for the proof of concept. So if
the question.
he was interested. Yeah, good.
Yeah, so let me expand upon that. So we offer 10 inventory item free trials. There's no cost to an organization to do this. And this typically takes a couple days to a couple of weeks. It depends on how long the client needs to evaluate the system and the business case. But it's really only limited by how fast or how slow a client can get us the required data. And we go over that data requirements in a more deeper dive in a follow-up meeting. And Harold's going to provide information on that. And then from there, if you're still intrigued, then we can go into a proof of concept. And we can get you results back in, well, the record is a couple of hours. But that's more the exception and not the rule. But most clients take a couple days to a couple weeks to do a proof of concept. Up to them. The nice thing about the trial is that it gives the client really the opportunity to see their data, their inventory on our platform and see improvements in inventory positions and many other actionable items as well, as you saw here today. And very often the positive cash flow and results from a test pilot can finance a full license due to our low cost position. So that's something that folks may want to consider. Harold, did you put the link into the chat for everyone?
The link for
the deeper dive or the
Yeah, I'm about to share the screen now for those who maybe we need to copy that and put it in the chat as well.
Do you want me to make you the presenter? I think I still have to do that even though you're an organizer.
Yes.
You have your screen up? Okay, here you go. All right, should have it now.
Okay.
So if an organization wants to do a deeper dive and look at specific applications of our tool as it relates specifically to your organization, we can do a deeper dive meeting and look further into exploring a free trial opportunity. That can be set up through Herald and SpareWorks, and there's information that you can sign up and register for that. Harold, we're just seeing your screen on, I think we're seeing.
Just want to make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing.
Ah, there we go. Yeah.
So,
now sharing your screen.
Good.
There we go.
So this is the, yeah. And so the link is here. I think I need to copy this and put it in the chat so people can take that. Sorry, I just clicked it on it. Godson, can someone help me? Okay, good. Yeah, it's there now. So it's in the chat, the link where you can register to speak to a consultant and have discussions going forward about having a pilot or a proof of concept for your organization at no cost. And if the investment makes sense, look at an opportunity to seek approval for this.
Thank you, Harold. That's perfect. If anyone else has questions, feel free to join the conversation or type in the chat box.
Okay. I don't think there's anyone coming up with a question, but with the link, we will be reachable. We'll be available for further questions, further discussions. We will also share this presentation so you can listen to it again, look at the slides. Okay, there's a question. How long does it typically take to deploy? Okay, Chris, do you want to?
Yeah, I'm going to let Kevin address that question. He is on the operations and deployment team, and
okay,
I know he's going to say it ranges. But go ahead, Kevin. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, thank you. It's very similar to the proof of concept question, that it's as quickly as a client wants to go. We've done it in a few days before. As Chris had mentioned, and this is not just for the proof of concept too, but we had a very enthusiastic CEO that really wanted inventory optimization, and we were able to get that done in a few hours, in less than a day. But that's definitely not does not happen very often. It was just because the boss wanted it very quickly. But typically the process is we gather data, and first and foremost we listen to what your challenges are and what you're facing specific to inventory. Make sure that our clients totally understand what the input requirements are, what that's going to do, and so there's usually a series of meetings going back and forth to get everything set up. And then once it is set up, there's three meetings that are kind of training meetings to get clients standing on their own, or we can help them, and then we meet monthly. So to answer the question, as a typical deployment, I would say most likely two to 4 weeks, and it's again just dependent on how quickly the client wants to get up and going. Everybody's busy. Our focus is inventory optimization, but all supply chain managers, as you all well know, have to worry about things like transportation and logistics and managing 3PLs and all that sort of thing. So we're always very mindful of that, but it's usually, I'd say, probably 2 to 4 weeks.
Good. So 2 to 4 weeks is probably more like an average time, depending on how much data and how quickly your organization might want the tool deployed. What we commit to is to, what we commit to is to make the tool available if the discussions go well after this for the pilot. Walk you through, whatever challenges you go through at the beginning to see how it works, and help you develop a good case, a good business case for approval within your organization and alignment. What this does for you is it removes the headache of knowing what quantities to order and when to place those orders. So while the rest of the team is busy chasing and trying to tackle all the challenges that we have within the markets in this part of the world, you can at least have some degree of certainty as to what quantities of inventory to hold to achieve your service level and your inventory optimization targets. So that's it in summary from me. If there's any additional word from Chris, Kevin, or Godson, please feel free to chip in now.
I'm sure Chris will say the same thing. I would just appreciate everyone's interest and attention. We know you're very, very busy, so thank you for learning a little bit more about inventory optimization and how it can help. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is Chris. Thank you to everyone who's on the call here today. We know everyone's busy, and we just really appreciate SpareWorks, Godson, Harold, and the entire team there. We're really excited to make inroads into the Africa markets, and we look forward to working with all of you in the near future, perhaps. Happy holidays to everyone, and thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Kevin. Godson, are you contributing anything, or do we round up at this point? Okay, he's probably not there. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the attention. Sorry for the inconveniences about dialing in and downloading GoToMeeting. You can see you have an additional app now on your phone for conference calls like this. Thanks for your time. We look forward to engaging further with you to discuss the potentials of this tool and how it can help you deliver on your company objectives. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.